Hi, and welcome to Easy Habit Change 5-Day Challenge. I'm so excited to be offering this course and excited you're here participating. This course is intended to help both healthcare providers and people who want to create more healthy habits in their lives understand the latest in what neuroscience has taught us to bridge the gap between knowing what to do and yet not being able to figure out how to create the new habits. I set this course up so the lessons are easy to follow practices. You can start on these right away. I broke this training into 5 parts. You need to become comfortable with all the parts for the most effective processes to move yourself from feeling stuck to productive, being able to take actionable steps where you see results no matter what. This course is designed to support you to expand your thinking, relieve stress, and guesswork that accompanies change. This process is strategically effective when you use it over and over again to continue your successful life path. Day 1, the first power practice, and probably one of the most overlooked and um, overlooked and misunderstood parts of creating high performance habits. So this is a power place, setting yourself up for success. You know a lot. You probably know what needs to happen when you recognize a need for change. You know what point B looks like. The problem comes in with the how. What we know from neuroscience and studying habit change is that typically a person goes through 7 to 10 strong change efforts before a new big lifestyle habit is easily maintained. And when I speak about strong change efforts, it's where you really put your all into it. And that's why it's so important if you've been on a path of health up to this point in midlife that you understand and give yourself credit for all of the effort you've done in the past, because that is part of your building process that is going to set you up to continue to have successes as you bring in more of these health habits in the future. There are 3 keys to habit change that are important to understand. Many times people stop trying to change habits because they come to the wrong conclusions, and that can really limit. So 3 keys to habit change. Failure is part of the process. When we don't succeed at something, it's only information. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue. It doesn't mean we should. It's information, and how we choose to use it helps us to grow and continue on our path of effectiveness. Habit change is a personal experiment and easier to learn when we play, try, fail, and repeat. Now think about when you were young and you were learning to play something like basketball or bouncing the basketball under your legs as you were learning to sing songs and drills. When we start to learn a new movement, we play, we try, we fail, and repeat over and over again. The process stays the same. What changes as we age is we start to assume that we can jump through steps and get there. So we can jump from A to B without having a map or a plan of how to get there. And that's what leads to these erroneous conclusions that we may not be able to change our habits. Creating healthy habits is a skill. Skills are something that we are all capable of learning. This is how our nervous system, our bodies, and the way we are naturally designed. So let's talk about some of the things that can get in the way. I started to speak about in the last section about failure and coming to the wrong conclusions. So 3 areas where I commonly see people getting stuck are around beliefs, skills, and defining the scope. Beliefs. So lack of success in changing habits is not a character flaw. It's very common for people to start to consider themselves just lazy or not motivated, things like that, when oftentimes if people are given information and said you should try this, the barrier is not so much not wanting to as not really having the skills to put all the pieces in place to start to work towards achieving the new lifestyle change. So it's very important on both sides of the aisle, whether you're somebody who's trying to make a habit change or somebody who's trying to encourage somebody to make a habit change, to understand that not creating the success is not necessarily a character flaw. Skills. Difficulty with change is a skill building problem. Many times what can happen, especially in middle age, is that it's been a long time since we've been in grade school and remember how much things were broken down for us so that we could build a skill. So think about learning to write for a moment. How many drills, how many repetitions of each letter had to be gone through until you could put all the pieces together and start to create and make a new sentence. But by midlife, we seem to come to another set of assumptions that if we see A and we see B, it seems obvious, why don't we just get there? So misunderstanding about skills and getting a clearer understanding about skills is very powerful in the habit change process. So when we talk about defining the scope, taking small, clear, intentional steps over and over again and repeating this is what works and guides you in making habit change. Where many of us start to again get a little kerfuffled is, I'll give you an example. Let's say your doctor encourages you to choose less processed food in your diet, saying it's healthier for you that way. And you don't really fancy cooking very much, and you get referred to a nutritionist who then gives you many recipes that are good for what you're trying to achieve. There's still a big gap between knowing that eating food you prepare yourself and having recipes and actually being able to go to the grocery store, make your lists, organize your time, and find ways to integrate this new pattern into your lifestyle. And this is where sometimes if we try to make too big a jump without building on the small pieces, it's easy to see how we can have more difficulty creating the change. And that's what we're going to be addressing today, is how to build those small steps towards the health goals that you want. Buckminster Fuller, an inventor and futurist, was very insightful about the way change happens. Coincidentally, his insight also happens to be the way neuroscience has found we create new habits and patterns in our brain and body. And what he says is you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And we know this in neuroscience, that when you want to create a new pattern, you actually build new neural connections over the old stuff. So old stuff doesn't go away, it's just the new stuff comes in and creates the new patterns, which is why repetition is so important to reinforcing and learning. Now, if you haven't already, press pause to print out your 5 days to a new health habit form. We're going to do that together today. So get that out and let's begin. There are 2 ways you can go through this. You can listen to the instructions as we go line by line and then fill out each line. Or if you would like, you can listen to everything and then fill the form out at the end. So line 1, new habit prep tasks. We're going to start writing your new habit on the bottom of the page. So whatever that habit is that you would like to be doing. And then look at new habit prep tasks. And before you write anything, ask yourself the following questions. Think about a habit you've had to learn in the past. How do you usually prepare for habit change or a new goal? What are the steps you actually take? Are there steps you skip or cut short and know you shouldn't? So this is where assumptions can come in and really get in our way and become little tiny trigger barriers to change. So I'd like you to think about new habit preparations. Here's an example. You decide that you're feeling a little stiff when you're picking up things off of the floor, and you want to make sure your balance stays strong and you stay strong. So you're going to add doing 10 squats a day to your day. What steps are you going to take to make sure this happens? Okay. So perhaps on Monday, you're going to have a picture of squats in your bedroom. And Tuesday, just to make sure you get it done, you're going to set an alarm because you realize even though the picture's there, you're forgetting. or there might be a likelihood. On Wednesday, you realize if you leave it up to chance, then you forget to do it. So you're going to give yourself a schedule and you're going to link it to something you already do. Like before I put my earrings on, since the sheet is right next to my earring rack, I'm going to do 10 squats as a reminder, and so on. So that's how we start new habit prep tasks. Okay, now we're on line 2, support for success. Another piece of this power practice. Whatever can go wrong will. So Murphy proofing our plan is important from the start. What are some of the likely things that will get in your way of achieving your habit? Do you have kids around? Do you have dogs around? Do you have a habit of looking at your phone before you've organized your day based on your needs as opposed to things that are coming at you from the outside world, which are in your phone? These are things that you may find get in your way of you achieving your habit. How do you create the support you need to stay on track? So let's go back to our example of doing squats every day. Murphy proofing. Let's say you have dogs that come in, and when you start to do your squats, they start demanding attention. Closing your door or going into a space where the dogs are not a distraction would be one example. Another example might be in the mornings you pick your phone up right away and get distracted from the important things that are in front of you and find that you're getting too time crunched. So what gets left out often are those habits that we want to create that are on the top of our list all the time. So we might consider leaving the phone in a different location. Another option is to create a new habit with a partner. Some people do better when you know there's somebody else also creating a habit. It doesn't have to be the same one. It could be a different one, but you support each other, reminding each other each day to stay on track. So how do you create the support you need? Go ahead and fill that out. Next is line 3, new movement patterns. This concept is really important to understand for the reason that persistence is the #1 predictor of success when it comes to new habits. Your brain and your body need a lot of repetition to create new patterns for things to go on autopilot. And you can pretty much guarantee, again, Murphy's Law plays a big role in New Habit Challenge, that when you're under stress, if you haven't been doing your new habit for a really long time, you're more likely to have memories of the habits you had been doing for long periods of time that come back. The nice news about that is as soon as you go back into your new habit pattern, those new habits are there too. So we never have to get too concerned about sliding backwards and that we've lost all the good that we've already accomplished. Another thing that, again, is very common and important to understand in creating new movement patterns is that jumping from vision to action without the prep leads to failure. So let me give you an example. When we've talked about new habit preparation and support for success, inherently we're starting to create new movement patterns. We need to pay attention to environment when we're starting to look at new movement patterns because we are moving differently. If we are trying to do this exercise, setting yourself up to do it at night may not be the best time for some, or for some it might be because your body has its own rhythm and way of moving things. So you want to take those types of pieces of information into account. If you know that once you're sitting down at night, it's not likely that you're going to get up, I wouldn't recommend that you plan to do your squats as an evening activity. Okay, so that's where we start to assume, oh, it's easy, I'll just do 10. We already have failed if we don't plan for it at a time of day where the new movement pattern goes easily with our rhythm. So we're kind of in our head jumping from vision to action, and then we're home on the couch doing our relaxation. It's not likely we're going to get up and create the new pattern. So part of that, again, goes back to preparation. What do we need to do before and after? What's the new part of the movement patterns that help you do what you're intending to do? Now, implementation. And the last one is celebration. Take pleasure in your action today. There's lots of good chemicals that get created from taking pleasure from the actions you do. So think about what you're going to do to celebrate your success. A suggestion for celebration. If you're having trouble, I've found this to be very successful. Try putting together 2 cups. In one cup, put a coin. In another cup, write the name of a charity you really like and place them right near the activity that you're going to be participating in. When you're done with your activity, move some coins from the first cup to the charity cup. At the end of the week, not only will you have helped yourself, but you will have helped a cause that you really care about. This is done all the time in the health and wellness field. Think about all the people who run marathons for causes like Easter seals, like Jerry Lewis used to offer things for cerebral palsy, heart disease, multiple sclerosis. So having your own donation celebration can really impact how you're going to succeed. So let's go through an example now. As I said, we're picking 10 reps of squats a day. So, new habit prep task. Put out the mat. Put out a picture of good posture. Set a timer. These are all things that we can put in new movement pattern or support for success. Inviting my partner to join with me to do this. Arranging a few minutes in the early part of the day goes on the schedule. An alarm is set. and at the end of the celebration, a high five and pennies in a cup. That's an example of how you can do that. So continue to fill out your form if you haven't for this week. And I'm really excited for you. Thank you for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. That's all you need to do for today. You can even wait till tomorrow. And I encourage you to, because just filling this form out is a lot. For extra credit and your own benefit, go into the high performance community, and under day 1, which will be pinned to the top of the page, write the answers to the questions that are listed on the website video under website page under this video, and you will be entered into the grand prize drawing, not once, but twice. Everyone gets an extra entry every day you post. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.